Just record. I'm just like, yeah. Bloopers. Cold open. Start whenever.
Hey, hey, hey. Hey everyone, it's been a while since we've done casual, unstructured, or at least semi structured, or I don't know, mostly unstructured. Yeah, actually, we're going to do a very unstructured recording for this episode of The Pen.
Noobs.
So yeah, so this will be one of the episodes where you're just gonna hear me and Jika and no special guest for the time being.
Yeah. I want to start off by saying, Ryan, I have missed you. I have missed this. Because
Yeah.
I mean, in as much as we've been wanting to upper content, I do miss just like chatting with you, sitting down and actually, showing off our latest hauls. You are no longer my teaching assistant this year. So I feel like there's a sense of loss.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Oh my gosh, we haven't really had that conversation for quite some time already. Like a long conversation about what we've been up to with our stationaries. Usually we're just sharing a bunch of photos on Instagram, but we haven't really had much discussion as to how we're feeling about the stationaries we currently have, or just sharing what's our newest haul. So yeah, I miss that too, and I miss you actually. I mean, we do see each other at work, but of course, we're dealing with other stuff,
Yeah.
work basically. But now we're just gonna talk about something we're super passionate about still, which is stationaries, fountain pens, and inks. So I mentioned earlier it's gonna be unstructured, but of course we still want to keep one of the traditions we've started in the previous episodes, which is our Noob Discoveries. So Jika, you want to start off first with your new Noob Discovery?
Okay, as of the time of this recording, I had posted this already on Instagram, but focus. There. Look at this magical thing. Okay, yesterday on yeah, it looks like a Lamy, but it isn't. It looks like a Lamy Vista. But when you open it,
Oh my
it's a
God,
gel pen.
it's a it's not it's not a nib. I mean, it's not a fountain pen nib.
I
It's
know. I know.
a
So
mortal.
what the heck's happening, right? And I found this on Shopee, I think 3 weeks ago, and I was looking for a gift for my dad for Father's Day, and I was like, he just asked me to buy five of each color of each MNG pen. You know the ones that we used to check our papers with, the one that are like 9, 12 pesos each. That's like way less than $1 because like $1's 47 pesos. This is like 9, 10 pesos each. So I was like, maybe that's not so good for the environment. So here I am again trying to enable my dad in a more accessible way.
Yeah.
One of my friends, hopefully we can get him on the show sometime. Nikki Hosaka had said that, or had posted in Fountain Pen Network Philippines that he found exactly what I'm holding up on the screen right now. It looks like a Lamy Vista, which means it has the same body or so like a Lamy Safari, but instead of the nib you've got a gel pen, and when you take it out it actually accepts standard ink cartridges. So so far it's been really great. I love it. They have two tip sizes, a 0.38 and the zero point 0.5. I gave my sister and my dad one of the 0.5s. I kept the 0.38. And it is the best place for my wettest and hardest to dry inks. AKA, I'm sorry, like for people who love noodlers, but like that's what I found to happen with noodlers. That's also why I didn't like Apache Sunset so much. But I put a noodlers ink in this one and it's been divine. Divine. And that's my Noob discovery. The
Oh my
end.
God. Please do send me the link. Maybe I'll check it out. I am interested.
It's 39 pesos each.
Yeah, I mean, you can just try out different inks using that pen instead of having to buy a lot of fountain pens. It just, yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Wow,
It's
that's
so entry level. It's like more entry level than entry level fountain pen. And I guess I just decided on getting one finally, other than the fact that I wanted to enable my dad. But when I was getting vaccinated, I hated having like three fountain pens with me, one felt tip pen and one ballpoint pen. And like, you can't use your fountain pen on bad paper or government supplied paper. So this is just what we need.
Oh, nice, nice. So yeah, speaking of vaccination, you did mention you got vaccinated lately. What pen did you use?
I used a Uniball. What do you call those ones? The ones that come with Hobonichi? But
Oh,
I used two actually, and this is the sad part of it. I brought like three fountain pens. I brought that Uniball multi pen, and I brought a Maruma. Was it a? I forgot what it's called, but it was called a Pulaman. It came from Hobonichi as well. It was a felt tip pen, and
right.
then you know how you're like trying to be a nice person, and everyone's so nice despite the chaos around you, and then suddenly someone comes out and she's like, can I borrow your pen? And you're afraid of the pandemic situation. So I'm like, okay, here's a pen. You can keep it. And it turned out that I gave her the Pulaman.
Oh,
Yeah, like after that, because you're in the process of vaccination. I'm like, okay, keep it. So I lost a pen too.
you lost the pen, but it's a sacrifice.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
great sacrifice. Let's not talk about my vaccination process. Let's move on with new discoveries.
Yeah, actually, just to connect to your vaccination, no, and also the pen that I used, I did bring my trusty Kaveco to the vaccination site. So this is the usual pen that I do bring whenever there's an errand or anything. So it's an AL Sport Kaveco AL Sport Raw. Yeah, it's the raw one. So yeah, it's all scratched up already, but I just like it that way. So yeah, this is what I use because it's also inked up with a black diatramentus ink, so it's kind of safe. However, it kind of feathered in most of the papers, but either way, it wasn't that bad. Yeah. So there. So that's your new discovery. Mine, on the other hand, isn't a cheap new discovery.
Go ahead. Go
I
ahead. We
got,
need it. There's lots of people on nose pens this month.
yeah, I have a new pen. Like I was close to not buying a pen for almost, actually I did not buy a pen for a month already since May. So towards the end of June, I end up buying one. Um, so there, yeah. And it's because I'm trying to streamline my collection, but at the same time also I just couldn't help but think about this pen. And so it just arrived earlier today, actually an hour before this recording. And it's a sibling of the pen which I recently adopted.
You
So
want it?
but it's not the top tier pelican. It's more of a cute pelican.
I hate you. I love you.
What's this? It's an M200 cafe. Is it cafe or calf cream? So yeah, it's it's um it's a steel nib, but the extra fine, it's an extra fine, and it actually writes so well. It's not as thick as the gold nibs. Like I was like, oh my goodness, this is my favorite. It's like a Twisby. Like the Twisby, this Twisby, it's like a fine. I think it's like a fine Twisby.
Mm.
Not the extra fine, it's like a fines, but it writes nicely. So yeah. It's a new discovery because I've discovered recently that the Pelican steel nibs are a little bit thinner
Mm.
compared to the gold nib counterparts, which a lot of times is quite thick to the point that a medium feels like a broad and the fine feels like a medium or even a broad. And the extra fine, they say, is like the medium fine of a sailor. So there. Yeah. So this is my new discovery. And when I bought this, I ended up looking at my collection and I'm like, oh no, I have to let go of some of them already. Yeah.
Which ones?
I'm thinking about letting go of some pens that don't spark that much joy anymore. Yeah.
Ooh, I'm excited. I'm excited, like, because this is my first time hearing about this recent acquisition. Yes,
Yeah, it's like a
I'm so
surprise.
happy
It's
for you. And go.
so yeah, there. So that's my Noob Discovery, but also an acquisition of a new pen. Hopefully the next one will be in 2 months' time.
Oh, that's so difficult. Haven't you been having difficulty this month? Because I have with the purchases and not purchasing. This month feels so long.
Oh yeah, actually this month feels so long. But I think because I'm trying to change a bit my lifestyle, I think it's trying to help me get rid of, or at least it's distracting me from thinking about my fountain pen collection. I think I just really need to take a pause now. I mean, at least I'm slower. At least it's slower now. The acquisition process is a little bit slower compared to before. And I'm really starting to know what I really want and what I don't want as of this time. So maybe if I do get rid of them or if I do sell them, it's not really because I don't like them forever, but it's like I don't like them for now because at a current state where I am in, maybe they're not for me. Like there was a point where I was so into Cavecos, and then maybe right now may not be the case. Yeah. So there.
Wild. This is giving me flashbacks to our David Parker Fig Boot on Pens episode where he was like, you want to spend time with your pen. And that's what we're doing this month. I admit it's a bit difficult, um, especially with some new stationery acquisitions, but no pen acquisitions. So, like, yeah, it's that time of the year. We're going to have to review a few things, which is totally in line with what we're going to talk about today, which is.
Yeah, we're gonna do some form of review of our stationary, basically the haul that we've had for the past few months, and it's more of really for us to review how we've been using these stationaries, specifically our planners. I think this was, yeah, we were inspired when we saw we listened to the most recent episode of the Stationary Cafe when they did some form of techo kaigi.
Yeah. They had the
Yeah.
mid-year check-in and we're like, we started in March. We don't know when this is going to be released, likely sometime close to the mid-year, but since we're teachers, it's actually the start of our year in
Yeah.
June. We don't count anything from January. Our years are kind of like from June all the way to March.
June to March. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I feel like it. So welcome to our Techo Kaigi episode. This is my first time. I don't know what it is, but Ryan has bugged me since like I think April or May. We gotta do the Techo Kaigi. Like we didn't even have like the plan for the episode, but he was like, we gotta Techo Kaigi. And I'm like, yes, whatever that is. So what is it?
Yeah. Actually, I heard about techo kaigi. The first time I heard about techo kaigi was when I watched one of the YouTube videos of Jobs Journal. So yeah, Jobs Journal. So he had this video of doing a techo kaigi at the start of the year. So that piqued my interest, and I actually did one also at the start of the year. Well, I tried to, but I couldn't stay consistent. And when I was feeling bad about it, or like when I felt like I wasn't being super consistent, although there are some planners wherein I was very consistent with my usage, there were also some planners wherein I was not very consistent. So Techo Kaigi is I believe it is a Japanese concept, and it's difficult to actually translate it. But Techo, planner, and then Kaigi deals with planning. So it's more of planning your use of planners. So there. Hopefully my translation was accurate, or at least I translated it properly. So yeah. Well,
It's
that's
more
my understanding.
motivation. It's more motivation for us to learn Japanese, but maybe we can Techo Kaigi that in
Yeah,
our plans.
true, true. So there. So I think it might be interesting if we could share like what were our initial plans at the start of the year, like what were our original planners, and then how did that, I don't know, change over the course of the year. And then afterwards, we can actually talk about what our next goal will be. That's why it's a Techo Kaigi episode, because at first we're going to reminisce or like reflect on the original plans, or at least the original ideas we've had as to how we're going to use our planners, and then how did it change throughout the middle of the year. And then today we're going to talk about how we're going to move forward as we finish the other half of the year.
Ryan, this sounds like an accountability check. This sounds like it because I remember one of our friends and I, the psychology teacher Jeff Mercado. He usually checks in on me every month, and then once we were talking about one of the psych studies that he had in class, wherein habits are better maintained when you've got someone to check in on you at certain intervals. So since I admit right now my habits weren't exactly consistent, maybe this is the start of something new, wherein you and I can hold each other accountable for our
Oh,
planner and journaling habits. Thank you.
oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah, sure. Surely.
So, who goes first? Planning habits.
Okay. I can go first.
Yay.
Yeah, sure. Okay. I can go first. So when I started the year, well, last year, 2020, when we all went crazy with the Hobonichi release for the 2021 lineup, and then um, Travelers Company also released their, well, it's not really a new thing, but basically their inserts with their cool and cute stickers that would come for personalization. Originally, my work planner was this traveler's notebook with this insert. So this one. It comes with this color, and then there's another one for July to December. So it, since the traveler's company, I mean, you can't really put a very thick insert here. It's not gonna look nice, or at least it might not lay flat, or as flat as how we would want it to be. I mean, it doesn't lay flat really. You really need some paper clips, but at least it's manageable to clip them. Um, so yeah, so this is the January to June. Yeah, it's January to June, and I use this for work. So it's quite filled at the start of the year, but um, by the middle of that, things have changed, which I will discuss later since we're still just covering how we originally planned stuff. So this is the first one. I have two. One is the monthly, this is the weekly with the note, which is really for work. And the other one, which I've been quite consistent, is for my finances. So it's a monthly calendar, and then I place there whatever I spend for the day. So there, it's listed down there, like what did I pay for, what did I spend, and then if there's new money that came in, I'll just take note of it. So yeah, it's really more for me to just track how much money I've spent for a week, and then eventually a month, and then I'll end up feeling guilty. So yeah, that's my way of checking in with myself with my finances. So that's one. And then the other one, the other planner, or actually this isn't really a planner, but this is more of a gratitude journal. Originally, it was just intended to be more of like a photo, like a place where I get to stick mementos. But I ended up using it. So at the start, it's just mementos and like lots of photos and stickers. But it ended up becoming like a journal, right? So it became more of a journal. And then I told myself, I cannot keep up with the small boxes. I mean, my handwriting can be small, but it can't be that small. It can't be that small. So I, so there. I use it for planning, not really planning, but like for journaling, and also for memory keeping. So yeah, originally those were my two basically planners, or at least stationaries, which I use for 2021. So that was the original plan. How about for you, Jika?
I had originally planned to just use one. I'm laughing right now because, like, obviously that's not where I'm at right now. But I planned to have just one, and that was really just the Hobonichi cousin A5.
Hmm.
But as it turned out, I had bought an A5 Hobonichi notebook as well. So I've already talked about this. This is essentially the journal. I add inserts for my finances. The weekly is just there for me to account for the hours and special events, the personal events that are important to me, and the daily pages are, well, just like what you showed with your Hobonichi A6. But whereas your like the boxes are too small, I'm like, the boxes are just right. They're beautiful. um the work planner happened to be the A5 Hobonichi. It was totally unintentional because I had no idea how I would use it, but like work happened and then I reached for the closest thing and it turned out to be the Hobonichi A5 notebook. Um, what other things happened? Um, 5-year Hobonichi,
Woo.
Techo, no, not Techo, 5-year Hobonichi A6, media journal,
Mhm.
Midori, grid notebook A5. Um, those happened. And then in the last month, I got Galen Leather Traveler's Notebook with both TN and Galen Leather inserts now. Um, Galen Leather A6 Tomoe River paper. Like, I don't honestly, I don't know where I am right now. But if we talk about the consistent stuff, I've been consistently updating these two. I've been consistently updating the Hobonichi Cousin A5 and the Hobonichi Notebook and the Media Journal. So those three. I think one of my main problems, though, and that's why we're here for us, is I've been having trouble with my scheduling of like how I like when I schedule my journaling. Because I remember that sometime in January, I'd update every day or every other day. And now it's come to a point where I just like sit down twice a month
Mhm.
for to catch up with each journal. And it's fun, and I'm very obsessive about it. And a lot of people have been telling me you shouldn't be pressured to fulfill these things. And I'm like, it's fun. But I think like 15-day intervals between catch ups is kind of very taxing. Also, I do my finances, like I do all the accounting and balancing stuff at the end of the month all the time. And I think that I'm doing that to save me from pain. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I do the 5-year journal every 30 days too. So my intervals have widened as the year has progressed. And I'm kind of worried that despite me being able to catch up right now, because it is important for me to do so, that I don't want like sometime in October when checking season suddenly peaks, um, I'm gonna be doing catch ups for like 30 days.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
and that's where I'm at. So originally two 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 main journals or planner and journal, notebook and journal, and now I have one, two, three, four, five, six, six,
Oh my God, you
six.
have
I don't have to
six.
use all of them, but like I want to use them. Amen.
Yeah. Okay. So earlier I was talking, so you already pointed out, or at least shared how your planners, or at least your journal collection and your planner collection have grown in the middle of the year. Mine, on the other hand, so this was originally my planner. This was both for personal and work. But I just felt that I wanted to separate work and personal.
Mhm.
And I just felt like this wasn't work material. I know, weird. I just felt like, do I want people to see me with this planner? Maybe not. Maybe I do. Okay, so there. So luckily, Hobonichi released a spring version of their Hobonichi Weeks. So I got one. So this is a Hobonichi Weeks. It starts in April, which I think best fits my work since our school year starts in May And then, oh, well, actually, we do start our work in May, and then our school year starts in June, and then we end in March. So similarly, this week's will end, I think, in February. Oh, it ends in February, or is it March? I think it ends in March. Yeah, it ends in March. So it ends in March, so it's just right. So it's like this is really for work. So there. So, and also it's quite compact, it's easy to bring compared to this travelers, which tends to be a little bit heavy, especially if you have a lot of inserts. I just feel like I want something that's more solid, or at least hard bounded. I think that's it, hard bounded. And I remember we had this conversation wherein I was like, one of my non-negotiables now is that it has to lay flat. Right?
Yes.
So yeah, I think I did mention to you that my notebooks, my planners, my journals will have to lay flat. So there, that's what happened here. So this is what I'm using for work. And so far I've been very consistent with it because I actually did plan how I will use it. Like what are the different parts of each week's spread. And I already prepared one for next week. So there. Yeah, basically I just put the task I need to do, and then categories, and then there's even a checklist. And then the checklist will just serve as how much of my day was spent doing a specific category of tasks. Like because I do a different task, like I teach, I do coordination, and then I do supervision of people, and then I have other work or other tasks in the school that are not necessarily attached to my job description, but are extra or additional, and then other like outside engagements, like I get invited to talk or whatever. So yeah, I log it there, like how much of my time is allocated or within that day is allocated for that specific task. Yeah, kind of weird, but it helps me keep myself in check if I've been prioritizing too much something, and then I have to adjust in the next few days how I will balance out my work. So there. Yeah, that's my journal, or actually my planner, which I've decided to acquire in March, I believe. Yeah, March, or was it April? April. Yeah, it was in April when I just suddenly said, "Oh, I want a different planner." So this one now became my personal, but I realize it's too big now. And like, what am I gonna put? What do you want me to put? Clean toilet, wash the dishes. Like I can just wash the dishes. I'm gonna end up finishing washing the dishes before I write it down here. So yeah, that's I think one of my frustrations now with a big personal planner. So actually, I've been thinking about getting a passport insert, the one for the passport, and it's smaller. So at least I get to just put maybe 2 to 3 items or bullet points per day. But I said, it's gonna cost me money. Maybe next year. I just have to be a little bit more consistent. Like I spent for these inserts, so might as well just use them. So there. What else do I have? And then journals just came in most recently over the summer break. So yeah, I did mention that this was my journal. It was supposed to be some form of gratitude journal, but in the middle of the summer, I was like writing stuff which are not focused on gratitude. Like, how am I going to reflect? Where am I going to reflect? And then if I do want to reflect, or if I do want to rant, or I just want to express my dark, deep emotions, you have those moments. It's like, this is too positive. The design is too cute for me to talk about dark stuff. Like, how can we gonna talk about existential crisis in this cover? Look at this cover. It's smiling at you. It's like, I'm happy. I'm positive. Don't you dare talk about negative stuff here. So yeah, it was too positive. Like, I know. I talked to my clients like, you're too positive. You're too happy. But yeah, it was too positive. The space was not enough at times. And then, of course, that's what I told you. Like, I think the boxes were just a bit small for me. And I wanted to write in cursive. Like, I can write in print here, but I really wanted to practice my cursive. And like, I wanted, like, yeah, kind of vain, but like thinking about it, like, what if someone will use my diary in the future as an archive of sorts? So I don't want people thinking like, oh, he's writing in print. He doesn't know how to write in cursive. Like, yeah, vain. So I wanted to use a journal that was more, how would I say it, more suited for the night, for the evening. And that's why I got a Galen leather. This is B6. Yeah, this is B6 because I think that the A6 is too small. It gets too big for me. So I got a B6 and then it has the Galen leather notebook in it, not the one with the leather, but just the everyday book. And then it's great because I do get to write in cursive and yeah, there. And it has some line guides which I can use. And so I don't have to be too conscious about it, be looking too quote unquote positive or too quirky or fun because this just ended up now as my memory journal or like where I just stick knickknacks or whatever pieces that I do find. Like most recently, if you guys are into the BTS meal, I placed the I placed them here. Oh, what's that? Is that an
It's the
insert?
bag.
Oh,
I
it's the
haven't
bag.
I haven't done anything with it yet, but I know that feeling with the BTS meal. And like
Yeah.
it's for a
I,
journal with me, but I get it. I totally get you.
I placed it here. I placed the sauces, the lid or whatever, the plastic covering of the sauces here, just for memory keeping. Like, oh, I bought a BTS meal last June 18th. So yeah, just for memory keeping. And also, one of the reasons I also wanted to transfer was because I couldn't. Sometimes you couldn't keep up with the dates, so the pressure of having to fill in every single day has been um, quite challenging for me. It makes me feel like I'm unaccomplished. And so having a journal that doesn't have a date at least will let you say, no, I don't want to journal today. Like last night, I told myself, no, I'm not gonna journal today. And I woke up feeling okay about it. Like, and so tonight I'm contemplating if I'm gonna journal. Most probably I will. But at least I have a little bit more quote unquote freedom compared to having a journal that has all of these dates. So yeah, basically I think that's the transition that happened most recently with my journals and my planners. Wow, that's a lot.
No, it's a lot for both of us. It's just like some things are being raised. I noticed about like how we journal or plan and our mental states or dispositions, which is really helpful. Like you just said that you don't want to put pressure on yourself. And sometimes the planner or the journal that you have, the notebook that you have can impact that.
Yeah.
So that means that so what's your goal with your journaling, especially on the Galen leather one? I'm just curious.
Oh, okay. So for this one, it's just really um, processing my feelings for the day. Yeah, so it's really more of processing the feelings, my feelings for the day. I can talk a little bit about what happened, probably some highlights, but I just really wanted to talk about how I do feel about what happened. Because what I did notice, I had this tendency in the Hobonichi to just talk about what happened. And then when I tried to read them, I'm like, oh, this is so boring. There's no reflection part. I wanted a reflection part. And so that's the reason why I got this because I didn't want to feel like I couldn't say anything negative or at least, or deep thoughts.
Mm.
Yeah, because of the design, I'm struggling. Weird, right? Aesthetic influences your writing, but it does. And so here I'm dealing more about my feelings, but also what happened um, in that day. So if I do feel strongly about something, I just write it here, especially since if there's something that I don't want to tell people, like I have to keep it to myself because it's really private, whether it's at work or personal. So yeah, this is where I place them.
Okay, our daily journals are entirely different. And maybe this is why when we actually get to like planning the techo kaigi part, like can we please keep I'm planning on keeping my daily Hobonichi A5 system. Like, I'd shown this previously, but my daily pages are like my collage pages, and then like I write in between. Often I do the designs way before I actually put the content, and sometime in, I think it was April, I started adding highlights up top, because like whereas you want the space to have like abstract reflections in your Galen Leather Tomoe River paper journal, my goal with my daily pages is to track my perception of the days as they go by. Like, as you know, and I'm sorry, dear, or not sorry, actually, dear audience, like I go to therapy. So I go to therapy, guys. Let's wreck that stigma. I go to therapy once to twice a month. Recently, once a month nowadays. And like I'm realizing that the way that I did my daily pages or filled them in January has progressed all the way to like now it's the end of June.
Mhm.
I realize that I often don't dwell on abstract things. What I realize is that previously it used to be a listing down of events sometime in January all the way till March. And then sometime in April, things started turning around with the way that I journaled things. I'd essentially start with an evaluation of the day, pick a highlight or a few events that I want to focus on with the help of like going through my Instagram stories, the stuff that I did. And also, thank you, iPhone, for dating the pictures. It's so important. And then if something bad happened, I started noticing that I'd actually end my entries, my daily entries, by noting or like redeeming that bad thing. So it's been really helpful, like just keeping me grounded in that way. And it's been really helpful updating my therapist about how I am. Like it's great also. And as I said a while ago, I tend not to journal on the day itself. It takes a lot for me to journal on the day itself because I feel like when I'm writing, and I'm super hyper emotional that what I'm writing is not as authentic or as objective as, say, Jika from 3 days from now. So that's what's been helpful to me, at least in terms of being mindful. And again, we talked about this way back in the journaling episode that um, it's like whenever I go through my daily pages now, I see what I really am. Weird. But yeah, I see who and what I really am as opposed to like when I'm hyper emotional, what I think I am or what I think people think I am. So like daily pages, very grounding. Thank you, Hobonichi, cousin A5. I will keep you as is.
Okay, that's good. That's good. At least what's important here is it works for you. However, I guess one of the things we do need to at some point not necessarily embrace, but more of like at least we have to learn to adapt to is that sometimes our systems might overwhelm us. But sometimes, at times even, we think that it works, but maybe along the way it actually doesn't. And so we wanted probably our discussion or at least our sharing now is just really for us to think about ways to move forward. Like if we feel a bit stuck in our journaling, or at least we feel stuck with our system, we wanted to at least have this more accepting discussion about how we can make changes and we are in control of our journals and the way we make use of them and also our planners. But we do want to get rid of that whole idea that you have to be super consistent or you have to stick to what you've initially planned, because at the end of the day it's the planner has to work for you. You don't have to work for the planner or the journal, right?
That's true. So, how do we go about this, Ryan? I mean, is there a textbook way of techo kaiging?
Well, I do. Well, my only basis here really is how Jobs Journal did it in one of his episodes. I remember that was from this year. Yeah. So he would identify what are his journals and his planners, and then he's gonna list down how he will use them. He's
Okay.
gonna list down how he will use them, like what's it intended for. Is it for personal? Is it for work? Or is it random stuff like random notes, like a dump page, or is it more of an everyday carry, whichever. So like you have to identify. I think it was also interesting when he also talked about how this specific planner or journal is a no pressure journal or planner, meaning no designs. You don't have to deal so much or worry so much about the aesthetics. While on the other hand, this specific planner or journal, there's more theme to it, or like there's more there's a consistent idea or theme that you wanna maintain in that specific journal or planner. So yeah, that's what I recall. What he did. So he would create a list with all of his planners and journals, and then identify how each item or each journal or planner will be used. Like right now, we can just simply ramble. I don't think we're really gonna commit to anything at this point, but at least if you do want to say like, oh, so far this works for me, I'll keep this as is, but maybe I have some modifications or maybe I don't. So yeah. There.
I thought I actually have a dump notebook. I have a dump notebook. It's already written there. It says Techo Kaigi 2021. It won't focus because I watched Job's Journals episode for Techo Kaigi in preparation for this. And I was like, it looks so cool, but I didn't retain as much information as you did. I was just enamored by the fact that he drew each journal and there were like
Right.
bullet points. And I thought that's what we were gonna do.
Well, actually, it is. But do you want to draw? I mean, I'm not the most creative person. Like, yeah.
I'm not gonna draw yet, but I'm willing to add bullet points. I'm sorry, like I know we said it's unstructured, but like the Techo Kaigi episode is about planning to plan.
Yeah, planning to plan. So this is unstructured, but we'll need to structure within this unstructured conversation. Wow.
I'm ready with my self-bound scratch paper notebook so that later, if I want to add my Techo Kaigi to a Techo Kaigi planner, I can just transfer it. But like, I hope I don't have to do that.
Gosh, speaking of Techo Kaigi planner, I was thinking about like if I do create a Techo Kaigi, where will I place it?
Exactly. It was a choice between a post-it and the scratch paper notebook. So I was like, post-it's not pretty on camera, not so easy. So like, yeah, we're going with a homemade notebook on mine. Okay, I'm ready. What about you?
Okay. So are you gonna do it now? I think I already have stuff in mind, so maybe I can share.
Okay.
Or maybe, yeah, it's really just like maybe I might change my mind. Like right now, I'm gonna say I know what I'm gonna do. Then, like, oh, never mind, I changed my mind. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. It's like chikahan.
Okay.
Yes, it's a Filipino term. Chikahan is a Filipino term, which is chit chat. Wherein, yeah, it's like a more of a stream of consciousness episode, guys. You're gonna hear us like quite raw ideas
We're gonna
there.
slip in and out of some we will define them Tagalog or Filipino terms. So don't worry about it if ever we slip in and out of it. But yeah. Okay. So you want to take turns?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, because you already have something prepared. I'm sorry, throwing you under the bus. Yours.
Okay, no problem, no problem. I guess I'll stick with the easiest one. So far, this has been the most consistent I have been with my planning. I just right now, this is just purely for work. Everything here is just purely for work. Usually it's filled if I do have also my teaching in university. So I do teach in university also. Um, so I do have my work like in my full-time job. And so one of the things that I did remove was the teaching in the university. There's a segment here for teaching university because I had to change it now for teaching, TOK, and extended essay. So those are some of the subjects we have. But now that when August begins, I'll have to make adjustments again with the distribution or like the spaces allotted per category of tasks. So there. But I've been very consistent here. Although I've made some modifications along the way wherein there are times I cut this the daily parts, or at least
Mhm.
the week plus all of the days in that week into half. But I realized that I have more tasks, of course, in my full-time work, and so it will just need a very small box for my part-time job. But now that there's no teaching yet because it's summer break in university, so I don't have to have that small box yet. But so far, this has been very helpful for me. I mean, I really liked it. There are just some times wherein I just felt like I wish the boxes were bigger again. But then again, this is for planning, which I think is okay because at least here I do write in print.
Mhm.
The other hand, in my journals, I do write in script or cursive. But what I do want is to have a cover, a leather for this.
Oh,
And I've been thinking about a Galen leather cover for this.
weekly cover, the one with the zipper or the slim cover? Do they have slim
Yes, the
ones?
one the one with the zipper. The one with the zipper. Actually, I do have one already from Hobonichi. I did spend the one from Hobonichi, but sorry, Hobonichi. Here's the thing. I love it. It's nice. It's stripes, but it's not real leather. The inside is not real leather.
Oh, yeah. Small things are deal breakers. Totally understandable.
Yeah, so that's why I'm like, I don't think I can keep this because in a few years' time, this is gonna like I mean the leather's gonna break. And so I don't like that. I don't want to keep something that's gonna break. So yeah, but it's a very beautiful zip cover. It's also made of cloth and so it can get stained easily. So I can just keep it at home. But I want something that I can bring around with me when I do travel or whenever I go around, whichever. But either way, as of the moment, since we're still stuck at home, we have to stay at home because of the pandemic, a zip cover is not needed. So there. So simply keep it as it is. So that's my first one. First
Okay.
item. What for you?
Since we're at work planning, you're using your traveler, no, not traveler's notebook, Kobunichi Weeks Mega or normal?
Actually, I didn't buy the Mega because I was worried about how thick it would be, but I do think maybe for next year I'll consider a Mega. But I haven't really used yet the notes part. So there's a part in the what do you call this one? In the weeks wherein it's note.
Mm-hmm.
So there, you get to see there's a note there. I have not used this part yet. So I'm like figuring out how will I use it for work because I
Okay.
also bought another one for like meetings, which maybe I could have used just simply the weeks. But either way, that's it for the time being.
Okay. I get it. Okay, so you started with work. I will come through with work as well. You guys and Ryan already know what my work planner looks like. It looks like this. Just a Hobonichi A5 notebook. I often just split the pages into half. Um, on the left-hand column are the daily stuff. So Monday, Tuesday, so on and so forth. How many days fit doesn't really matter as long as you maximize per day. On the right-hand column are the running tasks for the week. Some things can get migrated to the page thereafter. I'm also not strict about my pen colors. It's just like what's there. And I realized that having pen noobs and now announcement, I'm going to start teaching in university alongside teaching in high school. That'll be my part-time job. I realized that my workflow also has to change. So given that, I'm thinking of keeping, I had to draw it. I'm sorry, Ryan. I had to draw it just to make sense
So
of it. And I hope it focuses on the camera right now. All right. Techo Kaigi work stuff. Currently, yeah, you've got running here and then you've got a per day thing. But since I'm going to be doing pen noobs and uni and work, I'm thinking of dividing each Hobonichi A5 page into 3 columns and then like maybe 1/3 of the entire page will be at the bottom will be dedicated to running tasks instead, still divided according to the 3 columns, so that at least I can see that, for example, for a particular day, the most that I did on Monday was work. The most that I did on Friday, for example, was pen noob stuff. And then like a lot of running tasks, for example, were mostly work stuff. I mean, main work stuff, that sort of thing. So I think that's what's going to happen, especially when August comes around and we gotta take into consideration uni teaching. So
Right.
yay, work planning. I'm excited. Okay, I'm happy about this Techo Kaigi thing. Let's do this again.
Yeah, oh, that's good. That's good. At least you already have a plan for now. But then again, don't forget that these things can change because once you're already there, you might end up realizing it's not working for you, and so there's no harm or there's nothing wrong with adjusting it again later on.
Yeah. I get it. It's just like I noticed that that's the consistent format that I followed in my work planner. It's the most consistent, but it's not the only one. I too post, like, I too just add stuff at the bottom in an unstructured way. So I'm not as strict as you guys think I am, especially in the way that I like show myself on social media. But yeah, I'm totally open to horizontal layouts, guys. I was trying to learn Korean. That panned out.
Okay, so yeah, that's the first one. I do have another planner, but so yeah, earlier I mentioned about this travelers notebook from Travelers Company, and I still have the insert for July. So this is until June, January until June, and then it's almost done. And as you will get to see, I have not used it well. Like it's like
Oh.
just bare. I haven't used it anymore because I'm too focused really with work stuff. I mean,
Mhm.
as what I mentioned earlier, like, do you want me to put in bullet forms, like, or bullet points, like, take out the trash,
True.
wash the dishes? I'm like, that's gonna take me more time to just write it down
Mhm.
compared to me just doing it already. But I do want to do some sort of like a planner wherein everything is already set. Like it's just redundant, but at least it's more of like a manual for me already. Like Mondays is always like this. Tuesdays will always be like that. Kind of, yeah. But
That's
I don't think
cool.
I don't need this big space. So I'm thinking of getting a passport insert or maybe another leather cover. Um, I already have the blue one. I'm thinking of getting something like camel or brown, and I'm gonna switch it up. I'm gonna use the blue really for that stuff. Like I'll call it a habits planner or a habits planner, or maybe something like a habits playbook. Like this is what I need to do to operate. Because I've been reading also some books about habit formation, and I think one of the books is titled Atomic Habits. So it's really about starting with really small habits, and that will help you change your behavior, change your
Mm.
disposition, change your mindset and everything else. And so I think I do want to be consistent with that. So there. But as of the time being, I'm not yet decided if I do want to sell the July until December insert, because I think it's gonna be a waste of money if I'm gonna just force myself. So yeah, I might not use this anymore as a planner per se, but I will keep it for the finances part, and maybe I'll just have an insert for random notes. So there. That's the plan for this one, because so far the finances, it works for me, but the weekly plus the note page, this one, the blue one, is just too big for personal stuff like chores. Yeah. So
Yeah.
there.
I don't associate the Traveler's Company or Traveler's Notebook brand with washing dishes. So I totally get what you mean.
Exactly. Do you have
My
another? Yeah, go.
I want to keep the whole thing. Like I'm keeping my Hobonichi A5 as it, yeah, A5 as is. Maybe a few things that I can improve upon are really not necessarily like changing layouts or changing the content or like even the added pages that I do add. It's more like this is the one that I really want to be more consistent with because like I said a while ago, 15 days for daily entries all skipped that I think are all very important to me and I do want to catch up with them. That's kind of too much. So the thing is, I just want to be more consistent with this one, but nothing's going to change. So maybe instead of like journaling twice a month, I'm just going to start journaling 4 times a month. to lessen that amount of pressure. It was also evident because I do have trackers in this one. In the weekly pages, I actually only track my hours up until 2 p.m. because the bottom the bottom portions are dedicated to food and skincare.
Hmm.
And honestly, I'm consistent from Mondays all the way to Wednesdays, but often after that, I don't remember. I don't remember what I ate. I don't remember if I did my skincare properly. And I was just like, especially during, I think it was Hell checking week in March. I was just like, screw that. Screw that. Like knowing what I ate and like tracking my skincare doesn't mean that I like not being able to do that doesn't mean that I'm a bad person. It just means that I was stressed out at that time. So I do my best to keep up with that, but I don't put pressure on myself for that. I think it's really more like I get excited about my daily pages. I really do because I like the nostalgia and the chance to look back of at how I was at a given point in time. For the most part, personal journal, very mindful, and I just want to be more consistent. Amen.
Okay, that's good. Okay, my next one now is, well, actually, this one is a journal, or at least a planner that is really just for work. So originally, this had the Hobonichi My Manga and I cover, but it was for work, and I felt like it was too fun for
Wait,
work. So,
what notebook is that? I'm sorry. I see the cover, but I don't know what's inside.
oh, it's the what do you call this one? Oh my god, I forgot what it's called, but the day free. Yeah, there you go.
Oh,
I
okay.
think the labels here. Day free. It's the day free. This is the one I use for work, specifically for taking note of significant events that happened. Given my role, like coordinating and supervising people, I do take note of like what's happening, like what happened to this person. Is there anything significant that I do take need to take note of, and also some stuff about meetings, basically like um, a summary or at least some notes from the meeting that I had to attend. Usually I have to attend around 5 meetings, 6 meetings a week or even more. Yeah, depending on what's happening. But yeah, so I'm using this for that. And also at times if I do need to check like, did they submit? Do I need to collect specific documents? Did people submit? So this will be my tracker. So I do take note of people's submissions. So yeah, Jika submitted some documents. So it's check mark.
Amen.
So there. I can't really talk much about this. This is kind of like the confidential um, planner for me because it's work.
Mhm.
So far, it works for me, but I just think um, I is it overestimated, underestimated, overestimated, or underestimated probably the notebook or the journal. Like I just think that this is too much for me to keep.
Oh.
Yeah, I kind of feel a bit overwhelmed. Like I felt like I'm already doing a job
Mhm.
managing, and then do I need to manage this as well? Or
Ah.
maybe next year I'll just get weeks mega and then I'll maximize the notes pages, which I think would work better for me to
Mm.
maximize actually the weeks. So I'm thinking that maybe that will be the case for next year. And so the question now is, how am I going to use this specific leather cover for next year? We will find out. But at least I already have a leather cover, which I can use. No need to be tempted to buy anything new. So there. So this is something related to work. It's a planner, which I can't talk much about, but I think the day free is a nice setup, but it's kind of overwhelming for me right now. Like I feel so pressured to like write a lot of stuff when sometimes these things can be documented like through emails. So do I need to take note of stuff I saw in email and then write it down here? So like I just feel like it's kind of extra work. But so far it's working for me. So I will update you because I just started this in June.
Mhm.
So we will So there.
Okay, I get that. I think I'm down to my last two planners. Wow, I'm down. Like, let's not talk about the 5-year Hobonichi. We're gonna like put that on the same pile as the daily journaling and the weekly and the monthly journaling. Like, I'm keeping this. Just got to be more consistent. Dumps it to the side. I wanna like show Kaigi my media journal and my traveler's notebook. That's because, well, my media journal is really easy. You guys might have seen this. It's a recycled Midori A5 grid. Oh my god, people are gonna judge my choices for the stuff that I watch. It opens up to the page of Fargo, and I just finished The Handmaid's Tale season 3 and season 4. So yeah, the format's pretty simple. I'm keeping it as is. It's for both shows and for movies. So yay! I tend to I tend to list down what I've watched on my weekly pages in my Hobonichi, and then I just like print stuff out. And then I don't put the write-ups yet until I'm done with the month. So
Yay.
that's the
Nice.
media journal. The other one is and this is my last one. I think, yeah, it's gonna be my last one. Like, screw the other stuff. It's gonna be really the traveler's notebook, because some of you might have seen it on social media on the Pen Noobs podcast Instagram, but I'm really invested in this one. And despite the amount of modifications that I have done with it, leather-wise, I've added the strap. I took out the elastic band. As you know, I am very crafty as well. I created my own like insert, my own leather insert.
Wow.
Yeah, so it can only fit 2 TN inserts right now. But like, there's nothing in the inserts. There's nothing in them. I've had this since, like, when did we get this? June?
Yes.
Start of June, right? And it's
Yeah.
been like 2-3 weeks, and all I've done is make it prettier. And it's like, sorry, pero sayang eh. Like, what a waste. If I don't use this one, it smells great. It looks great. It's pretty much just waiting to have something in it. And I have found it. I think I've found it.
There.
Tarot cards.
Wow. Tarot cards.
Tarot cards. I have the Art Oracles tarot. Well, it's not a tarot deck. It's an oracle deck with 50 cards. And then I think that I also recently acquired 4 decks, but their authenticity is subject still. I do have the digital copies though on my phone, because they have accompanying apps that I paid for. So like, I don't feel too bad after finding out that they're fake, because like, oh my god, I can just I can make amends by buying the app, because I really do want to use it immediately. But the current cards I have are the Art Oracle ones. If you look here, I'm showing it on the screen right now. I've got a card that has Vincent van Gogh on it. You've got something about life. So the statement about life on the Van Gogh card is, if committed, stay committed. There's a pencil to represent like some feedback about your work. Posthumous recognition requires a paper trail. And then the last one is about the eye figure, is about inspiration. Use the daylight to face the night. So I've been like trying to find something that matches the aesthetic of the TN and the evil eye, pretty much. The protective evil eye thing that comes with the Galen leather thing. Really determined, I think, what this is going to be for. And it's really going to be about manifesting, learning the tarot, imbibing the entire thing with energy. Since if you think about it, this is the journal that I've been so hands-on with, as compared to everything else. Like, I cut the leather. I didn't cut the leather of the cover, but I did cut up an old belt. I bought leather and cut it up to make little card slots, and I stitched everything by hand. Each hole was punched by me so that I could put the stitch in. So if the tarot and oracle reading and manifesting is all about imbuing something with your energy, this TN will be that. I have yet to figure out the format, but we'll see the updates on social media.
Okay, nice. I was just reminded about you talking about the tarot cards. I don't necessarily have tarot cards, but I do have something like a prompt to guide me with writing. I also follow what do you call this one? The daily stoic 366 meditations on wisdom, perseverance, something, yeah. But basically it's inspired by the meditations um by Aurelius, and it's by Ryan Holiday. So they have prompts every day that will guide you with your meditation. So I do use that. It's in my iPad, which I use. I read it and then I write it here. The two inserts I do have here are just simply inserts for my meditations, actually. It's guided by that. So these two inserts are just simply that. So there. Since I was reminded by the tarot cards, I don't necessarily have a tarot card, but I do have a journal prompt, and that's what I use. And this one is more actually when we were talking earlier about this journal. Um, this is actually still quite concrete, like concrete events, and then reflections. This one is less about concrete events, but it's just really talk about kind of philosophy, kind of, because it's not necessarily about like it's more of ethical aspects of life, like, yeah. So this is the more abstract journal, but with a cover, I'm like, do I really want you to be that journal for for abstract stuff, or are you the best one for that? So I'm still thinking about how things might look like for next year, but so far this is working for me. I don't necessarily follow the prompts like every day. I don't pressure myself, but before I did. But now I'm like, maybe when I do need to clear my head,
Mhm.
um, this is what I use. So like if I wanna capture an event that was memorable for me, which was both positive and negative, this is what I use. If just want to capture a photo or maybe some knickknacks of stuff that I've experienced, which are positive, this is the place to be. And if I do want to really meditate and write it down, this is what I use. So yeah, that's quite a lot. But I
Oh,
think with this conversation, it helped me concretize or at least set the differentiations of these journals.
I
Yeah,
get it. Wait, I just got to review things because like I'm attaching names to each one right now. So the first journal where the darker colored one, which one is that?
this one.
It's the Galen. Is that the Galen leather blue navy blue one?
Yes, yes,
Okay. And then the second journal, the memory keeping journal, is an A6 Hobonichi.
correct.
Okay.
This
And then the last one, was that a traveler's notebook, Starbucks Roastery?
not Starbucks, but it's Camel. Yeah, so it's a traveler's company um in Camel. Yeah.
I love
I
it.
Yeah, I got this secondhand actually because I've been looking for a camel that was a bit lighter. I do remember some of the camels available now are a bit darker,
Yeah.
but I saw someone selling in the fountain pen palenque. And I think this was from 2018. And as you get to see, the color of the camel is not dark. It's like chocolatey, milk chocolate, light, quite light.
Yeah. It's so
There.
pretty. I actually like how light it is. Like when I think of meditation, it actually, like, oddly enough, it's that color. Because like a
Oh,
lot of the meditation and stoicism books have covers that have like gold lining. They're kind of like off-white, yellowish. So like it totally matches your meditation notebook. So
okay, so that's a good affirmation. At least it makes me feel that there is some appropriateness in the cover. Yeah. So there. Do I still have a lot of journals to talk about? Actually, well, I don't have anything more to talk about in terms of what I do have, but I am thinking about a media journal. I do remember being inspired by your media journal. It's just that I'm still thinking if I do want to have one and spend time actually writing about them,
mm,
or do I just want to keep them to myself rather, or do I want something more generic or like more general? Like it's not necessarily a media journal, but like an interest journal.
Oh, interesting. Well, one of her friends, Eunice of Sushi Plans, her media journal so far, from what I've seen, because she has yet to like talk about it in one of her Twitch streams, is that she uses her everyday explorer stamps, and then she has like a list of stuff that she's watched, stuff that she wants to watch, and there's like a rating,
Mhm.
just a simple rating from what I've seen thus far. That's what it looks like, but I don't know if she's gonna have write-ups. And I know that like the stuff that I do with my media journal is kind of pressuring for a lot of people. It's largely inspired by Lillian Letters's reading journal, and that lady just reads a lot, audiobooks and physical books, and on her Kindle, and I can't keep up with that. But this one, I just write a lot on it because I have a lot of opinions about movies, and sometimes the space runs out. It's not because I want to talk to other people about my interest in movies. It's more like I want to retain my opinion of the movie or the show at the time that I had consumed it, so that if I reference it later, I can like see if this time around that I rewatched it, I changed my mind.
Okay, that's nice. Yeah. My idea right now is I do want to have some sort of like a media journal. But yeah, I don't want it to be like just limited to film or TV shows or media in general. But I am thinking about, because most recently, like within the week, I was drinking wine and then I was trying to think about, hmm, what do I want to journal? What do I want to write about? And then I realized, why don't I also document the wine I'm drinking? Like since am into wine and I do like taking note of the scent, the flavor, and all of those other elements of wine, and maybe to help me grow more as a as someone who drinks wine, maybe that might help. So
Mm.
yeah, I don't have a label for it yet, but maybe something like consumption journal, but it's kind of like sounds not so good. It's like, is this for a thesis? Is this for a dissertation? Like, are we dealing with human consumption and how human consumption drives capitalism? Just kidding. But yes, it does. But of course, that's not the point of this podcast. I mean, this podcast is within the sphere of capitalism.
Don't get anything from the show. It's all right, guys. Like, we're not really that part of capitalism. We're actually the part where we give greater institutions more capital.
Yeah. Or actually, even we could be a counterculture. Just kidding. Or just
Oh, wait, speaking of, okay, because you just said culture, because like instead of consumption journal, because it flashbacks of tuberculosis when it was not yet named, maybe use culture journal.
well, that's good actually. Culture journal, or like a culture log or whatever.
Yeah, something like that, because it sounds a bit more up there.
Wow, that's nice. See how this conversation itself, which is just all chit chat, helps us like find ways to organize our journals and planners. And I hope our listeners also get inspired or at least get some ideas from our conversation.
Mhm.
Or maybe if you maybe when we have this episode released already, we'll have a part in our Instagram wherein we do want to talk to you guys about what you're planning, at least how you're planning your planning and your journaling. So yeah.
Yeah, thanks for tagging along. I guess this is a bit longer than usual. Well, that's because it's unstructured and we had to put structure to our unstructuredness. So thanks for tagging along again, and see you in the next episode, whenever that is, whatever it's about, and with whoever it is. Thank you, guys. It's bye again from Jika,
Ryan,
and this is Pen.
noobs, and
Noob.